Good evening, friends. Today we will have a special session from Shri Krishnamurthy Lakshmana sir. He's come to teach us the basics of acupuncture from TCM perspective. Today is day 4, and Krishnamurthy sir has completed his master's advanced diploma from ASPERS, graduation from IIM Lucknow, IIT, and BE. So he's also passionate about traditional healing, and he's come here to put all his research and all his addressing all his learnings to us through this session, and in the form of uh, books to brain series. So today let us give him a warm welcome for this session. And Krishnamurthy sir, please continue the session. Good evening to you and a warm welcome to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. One small correction in the introduction.
Yes, please.
I am from IIM Lucknow, but not from IIT. So
sorry, sir. Thank you.
Fine. So I was thinking today we will learn about 5 elements. Because the more grip that we have about 5 elements, it becomes easier to diagnose. Okay, so when we see a person, so we understand is the wind more in this person, or the earth element more, the water more, or the fire less, the fire more. For all of us, like for us to diagnose a disease, first we should have a good grip of the 5 elements, because the human body is made out of 5 elements, and the disease comes when there is imbalance in the 5 elements, right? So for all of this, the fundamental is 5 elements, and the more strong we are in these 5 elements, the better therapists we can become. Okay, so give me a moment, let me share my screen. Okay. So I would request you all to make notes. Okay. At the end of the session, probably I will give an opportunity for someone to just do a quick recap of what we learned today. Okay. So understanding the 5 elements as per TCM. Okay, so this is important as per TCM, because the 5 elements are there even in, so let's say, Ayurveda. Okay. Ayurveda is another form of natural or traditional healing, which is from India, and even there the principles of Ayurveda is based out of 5 elements. Just that the some of the elements are different from what TCM is prescribing. So, but today we will try to understand as what TCM says. Okay, many of you might be knowing this. Okay, how many of you are aware of 5 elements? Click on raise hand button.
Me.
Click on that raise hand button so that
There is no option seen on the.
You don't see that option. Okay, fine.
That's why.
Please mute yourself.
Okay.
Yeah. Some 10, 12 people have raised your hand. So let's say 15. So out of 100, some 15, 20 people know, some 20% people know about 5 elements. Okay, so I will revise. So those who already know, probably this will be a new way of understanding the 5 elements. Okay. So before I start with understanding the 5 elements, I want to take a shloka and use that as a basis, and from there I will expand the concepts. There is a very famous statement in Ayurveda which says Yatha Brahmande Tata Pinde. It means that as is the external cosmos, so is the internal cosmos of the body. This is the statement. So as is the external cosmos, so is the internal cosmos. So we'll try to dwell and try to understand it on the little bit more about this. So I have taken a picture of a soup. So there is a soup in the bowl, and we have scooped up the same soup in a spoon. Okay. Now the soup, okay, Mera or Mira, don't do this. Okay. So I have taken an example where there is a soup in a bowl and the same soup is scooped out with a spoon. So now there are 2 soups. One, there is a soup in the bowl and there is a soup in the spoon. Now, if we apply this shloka or the text of this Ayurveda to this context of the soup in the soup, how would it be? Okay, if I translate the shloka as Yatha Brahmande Tata Pinde to this example which I am showing of the soup. So the shloka will be something like this. It would be Yatha soup in the bowl, Tatha soup in the spoon. Right? It will be something like this. So Yatha soup in the bowl, Tatha soup in the spoon. Right? So because as the soup is there in the bowl, so is the soup in the spoon, because it is taken out from the same soup. The texture between the 2 soups will be the same. The taste between the 2 soups in the bowl and the spoon will be the same. The ingredients will be the same. The color will be the same. The flavors will be the same. Everything between the soup in the bowl and the soup in the spoon will be the same. Why? Because the soup in the spoon has been carved out of the soup in the bowl. Right? This is clear? Is this clear what I am trying to say? Yeah. Now we will slowly develop upon this concept. Okay, let's take the example of this human body. So this human body is created out of what? 5 elements. Okay. And the entire nature or the cosmos is made out of 5 elements, right? So the nature, the way the 5 elements behave in the cosmos should also behave in the same way inside the body, because we have scooped some part of the 5 elements from the cosmos and this body is created. Okay. So for those who is possible, turn on your videos so that I can have your darshan, see your faces, and I can I'll get some idea of things are going inside or bouncing above the head, etc. And whenever you turn on the video, make sure that it faces you, not the fan, the ceiling. I can't understand the expression of the ceiling or the fan. Okay, I can only understand the expression of you, the participant. Okay. So the human bodies, say you ate some food. Okay, you ate some rice, some roti or some bread or pasta. Where did that rice or wheat come from? It came from the earth. The earth. Yes. So it came from the earth. So in other words, we can say the wheat or rice or your tomato, potato, any of those things is a different form of earth because it came from earth, right? So rice, wheat, etc. is a different form of earth, right? So this body is created by eating that rice, potato, tomato, cucumber, etc. So can I say this human body is also another form of earth? Can we say this? Do this. Yes, no? What?
Yes.
Yes. So this human body is also a type of earth because it is created out of the materials which was created from earth. Okay. So now the way the earth behaves there, okay, or the fire which behaves outside should have a similar behavior inside the human body because the human body is created out of those 5 same elements, right? So how does this happen is what we are trying to understand, dwell more. Okay. So I highly recommend that you make notes, because if you want to search this in textbooks, the content may be there, but the way that it is presented would be very different. Okay. So what are the 5 elements? Okay, the 5 elements as per TCM is fire, okay, wood, fire, earth, metal, and water. These are the 5 elements as per TCM. Okay, wood, fire, earth, metal, and water. Okay. Now first we will take the example, and each of the 5 elements has its own energy. Okay, so 5 elements are there and each element will have its own energy, so which we will discuss later. Okay. So now first we will discuss about the fire. This fire has one unique property that no other element has. That is, this element can transform one to another, one object into another object, okay, which no other element has that power. Say you have your finger, okay. Now you dip your finger into water and take out, okay. When you do that, has your finger changed? Has your finger changed?
No, no, sir.
It is the same finger, okay. Now you take the same finger and move it in air, wind. Has it changed? No,
No,
still the same finger. Okay. Now you take this finger and touch the earth and take it out. The finger is the same.
yes,
It has not changed. Now you touch, you use your finger and touch the metal, okay, and take it up. Has the finger changed? No, no change. It is still the same finger. Now, but if you take your finger and put it in fire and take it out, has your finger changed?
yes,
Yes, the finger has
Burnt.
changed. It is burnt. The color has changed. Okay, earlier it was all soft. Now when it comes out, it is all dark and black, and things have totally changed. So fire is one element which can transform one into another. This property is not there in other elements. Okay, it is there in fire. So this is a unique ability of fire. Okay. So I have given an example, converts, say, raw rice into cooked rice. Okay, the ability of fire. And the human body is a series of these transformation, one to another, one to another, one to another. So now let's say you ate some rice, and now that rice has to become your blood. Now the same rice has to become your muscle. The same rice has to become your, say, bone. The same rice has to become your skin. The same rice has to become your bone marrow. The same rice has to become your hair. So there is so many different levels of transformation to the same food that we ate. Okay. So Ayurveda describes this as, okay, ras, the levels of transformation. Okay. So it says ras, rakta, mams, medha, asti, majja, shukra. Okay, I am taking the help of Ayurveda because it becomes easy to understand. Okay, it says the food first becomes rasa, that is lymph, and then it becomes rakta, that is blood, and then the same blood over a period of time gets transformed into muscle, and over a period of time it becomes fat, and that fat over a period of time it gets transformed into bone, and that bone over a period of time gets transformed into majja, that is marrow, that is bone marrow, and that bone marrow over a period of time gets converted into shukra, that is reproductive fluids. So the rice that you ate, before it becomes, let's say, the reproductive fluid, it has crossed so many different levels, and over a period of many days and weeks, it has transformed, and finally it became say reproductive, no, semen. For all of these transformation, what is required? Just a moment. So for all of these transformation, we require fire. Okay. In TCM, we describe this in different ways. Okay, so there are different organs. Say heart is there, liver is there, stomach is there. So say the fire in stomach, it does one level of work. So we call stomach heat. Okay. Similarly, the heat in the heart, or we can call it as heart yang. So there is heat in liver. We call it as liver yang. Okay. There is heat in spleen. We call that as spleen yang. Okay. So similarly, every organ has a fire, and that fire is used to do a particular type of transformation or function. Okay. And in terms of direction, so what happens? The fire, say I have given the example of matchstick. So if you keep the matchstick either like this or like this or like this, in any direction that you keep, the flame will always move in which direction? The flame will move in
upwards direction.
upward direction. Okay. So if there is a question, what is the direction of fire? The direction of fire is
Upward direction.
upward direction, right?
Yes.
So, and this is a very important information for you to even do the diagnosis. Okay. Say somebody is having lot of reflux, acid reflux. So what is happening there? The food is supposed to go downwards. The food is supposed to go downwards, right? When you eat, it should go downwards. But the food is coming up. So just hold on for a moment.
Regurgitation. Fire in stomach.
Sorry about that. I was telling the food is coming up instead of going down. It means that who is bringing the food up?
Stomach fire, excess stomach fire.
The excess fire in the stomach is making the food come up. Because the direction of the fire is upward. Okay. Don't unmute yourself. Okay, unless you are speaking something. And especially if you have background noise, don't unmute at all. So if somebody says that I'm having regurgitations, acid reflux, how will you know that it is excess heat in stomach unless you know that the direction of the fire is upwards? Right? Making sense? Why should you know that the direction of the fire is upwards? Why should you know this? Because this helps in diagnosis. Okay. So along with moving upwards, the fire also spreads. Say for example, there are people sitting around the fire. They are not sitting on top of the fire, but they are sitting around the fire. And they are able to feel the warmth of the fire. Okay. So there is a segregation in sujok. Okay. So like when you are able to put the, say, a vessel on top of the fire, say if you put a vessel and cook, this is called as heat. Okay. And the warmth that these people are feeling, which is away from the fire, not upwards, but surrounding from a distance, this is called as hotness. Okay. It is a segregation which is done in the sujok system. So here I am making a statement.
So what is that segregation in Sujok system? I didn't get that.
See, in TCM, we have only fire. Okay, and its energy is heat. But in sujok, the fire has two energies, heat and hotness. Okay.
So
It is
heat
for
and-
your information. Okay. Like it has, how do we understand that and use it? There is a lot of details to it, but for your understanding that in TCM we have heat, but in sujok it has been segregated into two, heat and hotness. Further details will be discussed as we move forward. Okay. So I have made one statement here. Only source of fire is sun. How many source of fire do we have?
all the crude oils,
Hmm?
battery charge, batteries.
Mhm. Yes, and
So solar power plant.
solar power, and what else? What are the sources of fire that we have?
From coal also.
And
So gas pipeline also.
gas, LPG, and
Electricity.
electricity. Okay, and let's say we have wood in the picture. So these are all kind of intermediate sources.
Would be, yes, sir. Would.
Yeah. So all the sources that we told, LPG, coal, wood, electricity, all of these are intermediary source. But the original source, who is that original source?
Sun. Sun, sir.
Sun is the only source, the original source of fire or heat, because all the other things, say the wood, for example, wood grew by absorbing the heat from the sun. Okay, and the same wood, after it gets decayed and buried, okay, in the earth for some X amount of years, it gets converted into coal or charcoal. Okay, everyone from London, thanks for the enjoyable classes and teaching. Okay, welcome. Thank you. How many participants from London are there? Click on raise hand button. Only one person. Okay. Amala pencil. Fine. Okay. There are quite, there are few.
Hi, it's Kamal from London.
London. Okay, sir.
Thank you.
Come. Okay. So I was telling all the other sources are intermediary and they have borrowed the fire, the energy from the sun, and then they are giving it back to us. Okay. So I have shown here for all the, don't unmute. For all the, like, sun is the main source of energy. So the sun, say you cook the roti, right? You cook it on one side and then you flip it and cook it on another side. No? So you cook the roti evenly on all sides. Similarly, the sun, the heat from the sun is cooking. Let's say, imagine this is, this is the photo of the Jupiter, but imagine this is to be Earth. Okay. So what is happening? The rays from the sun is coming and heating up the surface. Okay. So it is heating up this surface. Now, but what about the other surface? This surface, it is not getting heated. So what should happen? That Earth should rotate so that the other side of the Earth also gets heated. Okay. So this is the continuous process of Earth rotating and the sun is heating the surface of the Earth. And it is providing the warmth. Okay. Even though all of these statements seems very simple, but so much of your diagnosis is hidden within all these simple statements. Okay. So that is why Earth is spinning on its own axis. The plants store the sun energy in the form of fruits. Okay. So what is a fruit? Like there is a raw fruit and there is a ripe fruit. Okay. There is a raw fruit and there is a ripe fruit. What is this process of converting from raw to ripe? It is that the fruit is getting cooked in the sun. The heat of the sun, slowly it is a slow cooking process. So the raw fruit slowly gets cooked and becomes ripe. So that from plant, the energy goes into the animals, and from animals to humans. When the animals consume the greens and the vegetation, and then human consumes the animal. So this is how the energy gets transformed from one to another. And all forms of life, when I say all, I mean all. The bird life, the animal life, the human life, the microbes, bacteria, all the plant life, all form of life is powered by solar. So it is we all are solar powered machines. Okay. In direct or indirect way. So why I have to tell all of these things? It is because it helps you so much in diagnosis. Okay. Say for example, somebody's vitamin D is low. So what is the first solution? What is the first solution? So expose yourself to more sunlight, because your conversion process is not happening properly. You don't have enough fuel for the vitamin B12, or sorry, vitamin D to get created. So expose yourself more to sun. Why? Because we are solar powered. If the power which is coming from the sun is blocked, then there is a lot of deficiencies which are getting created in the human body. So there should be a sufficient exposure to the sun. Okay. So I have just given the same example over here. The plant life is taking the sun. Plant life is taking the sunlight and it is creating its fruits. Like all our grains, vegetables, fruits are all created through the sunlight. Okay. So, and we also have heat inside the earth core. Okay. Inside the earth core, we have heat, and from outside also we have heat from the sun. Okay. So the earth is receiving heat from two sides. One is internally and externally. Externally is from sun. So similarly, we are also having these two types of heat. Okay. Externally, we are receiving it from sun, and internally, we are having it in the form of internal body heat. Okay. When we touch our body, the body is warm. Why? Why is the body warm? Why is the body warm? Because blood is circulating. Okay. Let us say water circulates in the water pipe in your house, right? If you touch the water, is it hot? Warm? No, right? So just because blood is circulating, it is hot? No. Why is it hot? Why is it hot? Because of stomach heat? Okay. So functioning. Heart is fire. Okay. Internal heat. Yeah. So what is that internal heat? See, once again, this may sound so simple statements, but full of, like, it will help you enormously in terms of doing the diagnosis. Say there is a proper distribution of heat which is supposed to happen in our body. Okay. So when this distribution of heat becomes imbalanced, some organ receives more heat than required, or some organ receives less heat than the required. No, this creates imbalance in the functioning of the organ. Okay. Yes, cell level metabolism is happening, and ATP, the energy, is getting released, and also along with that, the organs are functioning. Say the hand is rubbing. When you rub the hand, what is happening? Warmth is getting created, right? It is creating heat. So this is function. So similarly, anything which functions creates heat. So there is let's say your television or your mobile is functioning. Now you touch the mobile and see, does it create heat? It creates heat. So your television is functioning, you touch it and feel. No, it creates heat. Your refrigerator, even though the work of the refrigerator is to cool, but if you touch the back of the refrigerator, it creates heat. Okay, just give me a moment. So anything which functions creates heat. So similarly, when our organs inside the body function, the heart is functioning, so it is creating heat. The liver is functioning, it is creating heat. The kidney is functioning, it is creating heat. So different organs create heat because of the functioning that it does, right? So how do we use this in diagnosis? There is something called yang deficiency, right? At least those who have learned all these things, it is for them. Okay, kidney yang deficiency means if the functioning of the kidney goes down, the heat goes down. So and the person will feel what? The person will feel cold, right? So if a person feels cold, more cold than normal, then the heat in the body, the organs heat is becoming less. The functionality, you can also say the functionality is becoming less. Okay, so like those who don't know about this yang, yin, etc., just ignore all of these things. We will discuss this in detail at a later point of time. Okay, is it making sense why we are discussing 5 elements? Why we are discussing 5 elements? Because the way the 5 element functions outside in the world, it is the same way that the 5 elements functions inside the human body. Okay, if I understand outside, then it is very easy to understand inside, because I can't see inside. Can you see inside? You can't see, right? Only outside. Your eyes is outside, you can see outside. So there is no eyes inside. So you have to understand the outside to understand the inside. Okay, so I will give no, if you have a question, type it. Okay, or I will give a chance towards the end, then you can pose the question, because the flow will get broken. So next, we will try to understand water more in detail. Okay. So the main function of the fire was to transform one into another. Okay. Now, what is the work of the main work of the water? It has multiple works, but one of the main work is to cool and to create a binding. Okay. So you have a wheat flour, that is atta, and it is in a powder form. But if you have to create a binding between the two atoms, so Vinay Gupta is asking, the heat is also in the body is also due to positive and negative ions or electrolytes in the body. Yes, all of that is a process. I told the ATP and there are chemical work which is going on. But even behind that, there has to be some amount of heat which is getting created. So when you think in terms of molecular level, yes, that is also right. And when we think at an organ level, okay, when the organ functions, it creates heat. That also is right. So now coming to water, you had say flour, wheat flour, but to create a bond between two molecules or two grains of that flour, you require water. When you add water, you can create a binding between molecules, right? So, and to cool things, So the engine is working. Okay. Engine is working. So when the engine is working, what is happening? It is creating heat. So to cool that heat which the engine is creating, what is being done? You use water in the radiator. So the radiator will cool that engine. So it maintains a optimum balance between the creation of the heat and the cooling of the heat. So similarly, in the body, we require water because the organs are functioning, the heat is getting created. To keep that heat down, to cool that system, you require water. If that fluid which keeps the system cool, if that is less, if the coolant is less, what happens? What happens in the body? If the coolant is less, what happens in the body? The body feels very hot. The body feels very hot. And what do we call this situation in TCM? For those who know, like those who are advanced students, for them. Excellent. Shanti Bhupendra. Fedwa is wrong. We don't say it as yang excess. Flavia is also wrong. The body feels hot because the fluids, the coolant is less in the body. What is this situation called as in TCM? Yes, we call it as yin deficiency. It could be yin deficiency in different organs. It could be kidney yin deficiency, heart yin deficiency, lungs yin deficiency, liver yin deficiency, etc., etc. But in general, it is called yin deficiency. Okay, so we will discuss these things in great detail in future, but because I want to correlate say the fire is less. Okay, somebody is asking, what about yang deficiency? When the fire is less, say when the fire is less, we call it as yang deficiency, and when the fluid is less, we call it as yin deficiency. Those who are not understanding these fancy words, yin, yang, etc., just conveniently ignore it. So, and what is the direction of the movement of the water? So, fire was moving upwards. All the time, fire moves up. And the water moves down. So, water moves from, say, higher position to a lower position, right? That is what we are seeing in the falls. From a higher height to a lower height, the water is moving. So, and from here, it is moving further down. Wherever is the height gradient, when there is a gradient difference, from the higher level, the water moves to the lower level. Okay. So, the direction of the movement of the water is downwards. So, very, very important. How do we use this in diagnosis? How do we use this in diagnosis? So, if there is excess water in the body, so what will happen to all that water? It will slowly go and get collected in the feet area, right? So, and you develop edema. Why water is going and sitting in the foot? Because the natural tendency of the water is to move downwards. So it creates edema. So if somebody is having edema, what does it mean? Somebody is having edema, what does it mean? the water is excess in the body. Why? There can be multiple cause of why the water is excess in the body, right? Either the yang, the water is yin, so the yin is excess. But why? Because probably the yang is deficient. Okay. So the water moves downwards. And other function is it dissolves. Okay, there are so many. It is also called as universal solvent, because you put sugar, it dissolves. You put salt, it dissolves. There are so many things that the water can dissolve, okay, and carry it along with itself. Okay, some are not dissolved by water, so some of them are, say, fat soluble. So, but apart from that, lot of things gets dissolved in water. So when it gets dissolved, say, it can move from one place to another. So you ate salt and the salt get dissolved. So now that dissolved salt can be taken to trillions of cells in the body, right? So if it is not dissolved, can you take that 1 tablespoon of salt that you ate? Can you take it to all the trillions of cells in the human body if it is not dissolved? No, right? So for you to move things from one place to another, you need to you need to have things dissolved. Okay, and it also has certain properties. Say whenever you pour a water, okay, so it goes and settles down in a horizontal position. It doesn't settle down like this, like at an angle or vertical, or it always settles down in a horizontal position, right? So even this property, like all properties of water, is used in creation of the human body. So I'm taking some selected examples of here and there. Okay, one moment, please. Sorry. Okay, I was telling it always settles down in a horizontal position. Say if we see what happened. Okay, so if we see this example, construction workers, and those people use this device, okay, to see the water balance. If it is in a horizontal position, it will, this bubble, okay, this bubble, inside bubble is there, it will come and settle in the middle. If it is at a tilt, the bubble will move around. Okay, so this is the property of the water. This is called water balance. So similarly, this mechanism is used in our ears. So if you are tilted, say you close your eyes, okay, if your eyes is closed, and if you are tilted, do you know that you are tilted or not? You know, right? You can feel it. Okay, even though your eyes is closed, you are backward, forward, sideways, all of that you are able to feel. Why? Because there is in our ears, there is this water balance kind of mechanism. Okay, in whichever direction that you are moving, the water will still try to keep its balance, and based on that you are able to make out you are moving left, you are moving right, you are moving forward, etc. Okay, if this system is compromised, if this water balance system in the ear, if it is compromised, what will happen? The person, as soon as they get up, they will get vertigo. Their head will start spinning. They feel dizzy. because that their water balance system is disturbed. Okay. So we discussed that it settles in the horizontal plane. Say if the water moves down in our body, should the water move only downwards? In our body, should the water only move downwards? It should move in all directions, right? It should move up, it should move to the left, it should move to the right, it should move to the front, it should move to the back. In all directions, the water is supposed to move. So, how will it move? But water can only move downwards. But if it has to move in all directions, how will it move? Say now you have your ground floor tank is there, water tank. The water is sitting there. But to move it up to the first floor or second floor, overhead tank, what do? You use extra energy. You use some other energy to move it in an opposite direction. To move up, you use that extra energy in the form of pump or something. So you will pump it up. But from top to down, will you use any extra energy? You don't need. You just open the tap from the overhead tank, the water will flow down. Right? So if you have to move the water in the direction other than its natural direction, you require the help of other elements. Right? If you have to move the water in the other directions apart from its natural direction, that is downwards, then you require additional help from other elements. Okay. It requires the support of other element. How? We will try to understand. Say, like what I have shown here is, say, okay, I will explain this a little later. I'll first come to this figure. So see this figure. What is happening? There is water pool, a pool of water in the form of ocean or lake or etc. Now, when the sun rays are falling onto it, so what is happening to the water? The water becomes steam and it moves upwards. Okay, the water becomes steam and moves upwards. Okay, now water is moving upwards because of with the help of heat. The sun is giving heat, so water is moving up. But if the water has to move to the left or right, then what will happen? Then the wind has to blow. So if the wind blows, then the vapors will move to the left, right, etc. Okay, the water is moving upwards to the left, right, etc. But it is taking the help of other elements. It is taking the help of, if it has to move up, it is taking the help of the heat. If it is moving in other direction, it is taking the help of the wind. Okay, so similarly, if the water has to move within our body, the blood has to move well within our body. So what is required? The help of other elements are also required. Okay. See, at the end of it, it is water which is moving. Right? Irrespective of the density of it. Okay, it is in the water form, it is in the vapor form, it is less dense. If it becomes ice, it becomes very dense. Irrespective of the density, it is the same content. So I have just given an example. Say, if this interplay of different elements, if it does not happen, what will happen in the body? So all the fire will move up. Okay. So it will get accumulated. All the fire is moving up. The fire in the stomach is moving up. The fire in the heart is moving up. The fire in the liver is moving up. The fire in the kidney is moving up. And all the fire will get accumulated in the head part. Okay. Now, all the fluids, what will happen? It will go and settle down in the bottom. Is this fun? This situation? All the heat is in one side and all the water is in one side. Is it fun to have this kind of system? No. No, the water should move well. The heat should move well. So what is happening? There is a dependency of water, of like the heat depends on water and the water depends on the heat. Right? Say now the fire is here. Okay, let's say fire is here. Now you want the fire to come down. How will it come down? If you want the fire to come down, how will it come down? Say to make the water move up. To move the water up, you boil the water, the steam goes up, right? But if the fire has to come down, say you have your geyser, right? You have your geyser in the house. The water is hot. When you open your tap, it's just not that the cold water will come. Even hot water is coming down. The water is carrying the heat and coming down. Hot water is what? It is a water to which heat is added. The heat which is added to the water. So the water is bringing that heat down. Right? Say, if this heat has to come down, it has to take the help of the water. And if the water has to go up, so it has to take the help of the fire. So only then it will be able to move around well. Okay. And this interdependency of one element on the other element for its full functioning creates what? Creates what? Those who know TCM, who have already studied. This dependency on one element, dependency of one element on the other creates what? Type it. This gives rise to what? The dependency of one element on the other. This depends on that, that depends on this. Gives rise to what? Meenambika ji. What does it give rise to? Dependency give rise to what? Don't know? It gives rise to creative and control cycle. Okay. So this dependency of one element on the other gives rise to creative and control cycle, which we will learn later. Okay. You are understanding why? So how many people have studied creative and control cycle? Click on raise hand button. Click on raise hand button. How many of you have? Okay. Some 20-25 people. Okay. So you have learned creative control cycle. So why does creative and control cycle exist? You have learned creative and control cycle. So okay, so everybody uses one word, balance. Okay, tell why creative and control cycle is used without using the word balance. Don't use the word balance. No, you tell why creative and control cycle is used, or why is it exist? Why does it exist? Many people have learnt, no, it exists to tell that each element depends on another element. Okay, and what is the type of dependency? Okay, so every element depends on all the other element. Okay, if you see the creative and control cycle picture, so it is a slight deviation. So let's say this is liver. So liver depends on fire, like say wood. Wood, you can see from wood, there is a connection to all the other elements. Okay, there is a line connecting. So from wood to fire, you can see a arrow. From wood to earth, you can see an arrow. From wood to metal, you can see an arrow. The direction is different, but you can see an arrow. From wood to water, you can see a arrow. So the direction is different. So each element is dependent on all the other element for its functioning. That is what the creative and control cycle tells us, teaches us. What does the creative and control cycle? So this is the most important thing. Every element depends on all the other elements for its functioning. Okay, how do we use this in diagnosis? How do we use this statement in our diagnosis? If I translate the same, remove the word element. Okay, I told every element depends on all the other elements for its functioning. Remove the word element and put the word organ. Every organ depends on all other organs for its functioning. Say, for example, gallbladder. Gallbladder depends on the functioning of all the other organs: liver, small intestine, heart, stomach, spleen, lungs, large intestine, kidney, UB. Okay, so there is a interconnected web of energies between the organs. Okay, so as soon as somebody says, no, I have a breathing problem, your attention should not only go to what? It should not go to lungs, because there is dependency on other organs also. So you should think of what? You should think of heart, you should think of kidney, you should think of liver, so many things. You should think of spleen. Anything can create a problem in lungs, right? So diabetes, somebody says diabetes. So suddenly, first thing, what comes to your mind? Diabetes. So earth element, we have to work on spleen. Not necessarily. If there is a problem in liver, that can also create diabetes. If there is a problem in kidney, that can also create diabetes. If there's a problem or an imbalance in heart, that can also create diabetes. Okay, so If somebody asks, give me a protocol for diabetes, what will you do? What will you do? What will you do? No, there are so many causes. So it is difficult to give one fixed protocol. Okay. For everything you require analysis, diagnosis. Okay. So this is what I wanted to drive through this part. Okay. So everybody understood water? Water is clear? Give me a so everybody is okay with water? Click raise hand button or type yes, nod your head, do something so that I understand. Anybody who did not understand? Anybody who did not understand water? Okay, I will raise, lower all the hands. Anybody who did not understand? Any questions on fire and water? Anybody has any question on fire and water? Yes, Vinay Gupta, what is your question? Unmute yourself and speak. Can you unmute yourself? All right. What is your question?
सर जो फॉर एग्जांपल एडिमा और ओडिमा बताया था, तो एडिमा बताया था वाटर एक्सेस के लिए, और ओडिमा जो है वो इन्फ्लेमेशन, यानी कि इन्फ्लेमेशन यानी कि समझ लें कि ये नेक्स्ट यांग एक्सेस है, और अगर स्वेलिंग है तो ये नेक्सेस है, बिकॉज़ देयर इज अ डिफरेंस बिटवीन स्वेलिंग एंड इन्फ्लेमेशन.
See, okay, the question is, how do we what is the difference between swelling and inflammation? How do we analyze the yin yang in this situation, right?
Yes, sir. Yes,
That is
sir.
the question. Okay. So what is inflammation?
Sir, it is quietly visible on the skin. It is at some
In terms of
hotness,
5 elements. No, in terms of 5 elements, what is inflammation?
excess fire.
Excess heat, right?
Yes, sir.
So when there is excess heat, how do you balance it?
By treating water element.
No, by sending more water. Say,
Yes.
when there is a fire, what do? They throw a bucket of water to extinguish the fire, right?
Yes.
So
Yes, sir.
the same thing is done by the body. Says if there is inflammation in the knee, what will the body do? It will send more water
Okay.
to the inflamed part so that it cools down and it doesn't damage the tissues. Right? Okay, so this is the way that the body has the mechanism to control. Okay, whenever there is extra heat somewhere, inflammation, it will send more water. So that is why you would see excess water in one place. Okay, understood? When there is excess water, then also you will see, when there is retention of fluids in the body, then also you will see excess water in the form of edema, etc. And when there is inflammation, then also body sends the water extra to control the situation. Then also you will see extra swelling, etc. Okay, these are two different situations and the treatment will be different for both of them. Okay, for inflammation you will reduce the heat, but when there is excess accumulation of water, what will you do? You will reduce the water. Okay, it's clear? Vinay Gupta, it's clear? Okay, anybody else has any questions on fire and water? Okay, no question. Okay, so we will move to the next one. The wood. So every element has a function, main function. What is the function of wood? Okay, so make this, just understand this, hold this in your mind, and then as we progress further, you will understand this in more detail. Okay, the main function of the wood is to provide movement. Okay, the main function of the wood is to provide movement. Okay, all movements, okay, all movements inside the body is due to the wind. The energy of the wood is wind. So all the movements, say I am moving my hand, it is because of the internal wind. Okay, say for example, any movement in nature, let's say, how does it move? So you have a leaf, okay, on the ground. There is a dry leaf on the ground. So the leaf has to move, right? And it will move only when there is wind which blows. If the wind is not blowing, then what will happen? The leaf will sit there only. Okay. Now somebody may say, sir, when the water also comes, the water will also make the leaf move. But who is making the water move? Who is making the water move? Who is making the water move? The wind inside the water is making the water move. The wind inside the water is making the water move. Water is what? H2. Water is what? H2O. H2O. What is hydrogen and what is oxygen? Hydrogen is a gaseous form. Oxygen is a gaseous form. So the gases, eventually it is the gas, which is present in the water, which is making the water move. So for all types of movement, your blood, the movement of the, say, heart is pumping. Who is making the heart pump? As per TCM, it is the wind. Okay, your eyelids are moving. It is because of the wind. Your mouth is moving. Your jaws are moving. It is because of the wind. Your muscles are moving. Okay, it is because of the wind. Everything, the nerve impulses from the brain to the organ or the brain to the muscle is going. It is because of the wind. Okay, your hormones which are getting released from the glands, that hormone is moving. That is also because of the wind. If the wind becomes more, what will happen? There will be excess movement in the body. Somebody twitches their eyes, excess movement of the eyelids. It is excess wind in the body. Somebody keeps on shaking. Okay, hands are shaking. Legs are shaking. What is it? It is excess wind. Okay. Somebody's unnecessarily keeps on shaking their leg. It is excess wind. Somebody keeps shaking their head constantly. They're not able to keep the head stable. It keeps on shaking. It is what? It is excess wind. Okay. Different names are given to different forms of diseases. We will not go into the nomenclatures. Okay. So when there is lack of wind, what will happen? Low movement. So they can't lift the hand. Okay. It becomes all tight. Okay. So this is how you analyze. So wind became more, and that is why there is shaking. But why did the wind become more? There are multiple reasons for it that we have to analyze. So all of these things will come in diagnosis. Okay. Why the wind became more? Okay. Why the water became more? Why the fire became more, or why the fire became less? All of these things are part of the diagnosis. And what is the direction of the movement of the wind? What is the direction of the movement of the wind? Say if you see so wind moves in all directions. Say if you see there is a plant, okay, small plant, and if it is growing, it grows in all directions. Okay, it goes vertically, it goes, like in the bottom also, it grows in the form of roots, it grows horizontally, in all directions the tree grows. So, and the movement of the wind is also in all directions. It is in the form of expansion. Yeah. So in the so as the wood grows, it acquires space and expands. Okay, and the root, keep this picture in mind. The roots of the tree controls the earth. It holds the earth. So we will discuss this in creative and control cycle. Okay. So what is the direction of wood? In all the direction. Say, I told there is an image of the nature in the human body. Okay, just give me a moment. I did not give a break. Is it okay? Should we take break or continue?
Your wish, sir.
My wish. Okay. Let's take just quick 2 minutes break. Okay. Anybody wants to?
Sure, sir.
Refresh? Just 2 minutes. We will take a break. Okay.
Welcome back, sir.
Thank you. Okay, so we'll continue. So you all know why Joshi sir has arranged this class? You all know why Joshi sir is arranging this class? No, sir has this vision. Okay, so say in Maharashtra there has been this examination, okay, council exam, okay, for but in other states it may come up, okay, in future. Okay, so because once one state has a structure, then there is a tendency that other states will start having these kind of councils and create examinations. So sir's vision is that whenever these examinations come, that all of you should be able to take up those examinations and clear the examinations and become good therapists. Okay, so that this knowledge can flourish. Okay, only when your fundamentals are strong, you will be able to practice well. Otherwise, it is difficult for you to practice. Okay, and difficult for you to take up the examination and clear the examination. So to make all the fundamentals strong and keeping that future examinations of different states which may come up, he has asked to take up these basics session. Okay, so far you all are like you are liking it. Is it benefiting you? Yes. Okay, so but the thing is, the attendance is varying. Okay. So one day there is more attendance, one day less attendance, no, and also the people are not stable. Okay, they are they are not taking full benefit out of it. Okay, I was thinking, when will someone be more serious? Like, when will they take up this more seriously? Like, when will they attend the class seriously, make notes, learn properly? When will they happen? When will it happen? Okay, when there is some form of commitment. Okay, so I was thinking, okay, because the attendance is all, people are, I don't see the same names every time. I was thinking, we should have some kind of small fee so that people become more serious, and study it well. So and so that they are, we can produce good therapists. Okay, so yeah, so the interests. So I was thinking, I should talk to Joshi sir and say, we should keep some small, nominal amount, so that only people who are serious can join and listen. Okay, so this, I want to make this as a quite intense level of learning. Okay, so like lot of I want to go into a lot of details of the basics, like fundamentals has to be explored. Okay, as elaborately as possible. So, and I want people to be committed and serious for me to do this. Okay, so I have 3 hands raised. Okay, Shri Vidya Chandrasekhar. Okay, you want to ask something? What is, like, 4 people have raised hand? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, Jogi Kaur. I have asked you to unmute. Okay, Shri Vidya Chandrasekhar.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Namaste, sir. Actually, I think the people who are interested, they will take it automatically. And Joshi sir already said that if you are not attending the free classes, then he will not provide the access to it.
Okay.
So there should be no fees, I think.
There should be some commitment.
Yeah, the only thing is commitment.
Okay. Okay. We will see.
So absolutely, sir, I agree. There should be a nominal contribution so that commitment is from our side.
So commitment should be there, and so I was thinking that. So I'll propose this to sir and see. Let's see what he thinks. Okay.
Yes, but very well explained, sir. Very nice. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so we will continue, and okay, so this is about the wood, and I was telling we can see the replica of the nature everywhere in the body. Okay, so how do we see the So if we see observe the human body, okay, let's take a look at the tree. Okay, this is a tree that I have shown. Okay, so there is a how is it like my voice is clear? Are you all able to hear my voice properly?
Very clear, sir.
Here, okay. So there is a tree, and what is happening? There are branches coming out from the main stem. Okay, there are branches coming out, and even in that branch there is sub branch coming out, right? There is a main stem, from there is a branch, and from the branch there are sub branches. Now if we observe the human body, there are so many places we get to see the same. So we get to see the same kind of structure. Like if we see in the lungs, say there is one main pipe, and that main pipe gets divided, and that division has further subdivisions, just like a tree. And at the end of the branch, there is leaves, right? So similarly, at the end of these branches, we have alveoli, small balloons kind of structure, resembling the leaves of the tree, right? So very closely it matches. If we see our arteries and veins, even there you have the same structure, main stem-like structure. From there it branches out, and from the branch there is further branching. Okay, and if we like this is our respiratory system, this is our circulatory system, and this is our, let's say, nervous system. Even if we see in the nervous system, like there is one main stem, and from there are branches, and from the branch there are sub branches. Okay, so this tells the human body is a replica in many ways of the nature. Okay. Next. So everybody is clear with the wind, the wood. Everybody is okay with the wood. Anybody has any question? No. Okay. So we will go to the next element, which is earth. So what is the work of earth? Okay, those who have questions. Okay, Shri Vidya, Chandrasekhar, Mahalakshmi, Maganti, and Meenakshi Balasubramanian. What you do, you type your questions. Okay. Sheetal. Okay, also you type your questions. Okay, we have 2 elements. I just want to complete it before the class ends. Later, probably after the class ends, I can take up the questions. So what is the main function of the earth? That is the 4th element. It is to provide nourishment. Okay, so it permits sowing, growing, and provides stability. Okay. So this is no, Deepti Shah is asking is, sir, wind moves in all directions, but when we say no, liver is excess, it moves up. So when there is heat associated with the wind, then wind moves predominantly upwards. Okay, so that is the answer. So okay, so next coming to the earth. So the work of the earth is to provide nourishment, is to provide stability, and allow the growth. Okay, so the gravity brings stability, the feeling of being centered in all of us. Okay, say imagine I have put a photo of astronauts. Okay, so everything is moving without a direction, right? So because there is no gravity, okay, outside in the atmosphere. Okay, so like the fruits are all moving randomly. So do you want random movement in the body, or you want specific movements, like which are orderly movements, right? You want orderly movements, right? Not random movements, right? So for you to have specific movements, orderly movements, you need a grounding force, that is gravity. Okay, that is based on that you will have certain structured movement within the body, otherwise it will be very random. Okay, so gravity brings stability, feeling of being centered. So you eat the food, and the food should go down, or should it go upside anywhere? It will create, so you eat the food, it comes down, it goes up in the nose. No, it will create a lot of chaos in the human functioning, right? So this gravity is very essential, and that gravity is provided by earth. Okay, it gives the stability. Earth also nourishes, it holds all the nutrients. Okay, if you sow a seed, the seed sprouts and grows up. Okay, so, and where is that taking the nutrients from? It is taking the nutrients from the ground, the earth. Earth provides the nourishment, and earth can hold moisture, hence its energy is humidity. So if you see this kind of situation, muddy, like quagmire, sticky stuff, this is humidity. Okay, this situation is humidity. Okay, when you translate this into human body, we call this as phlegm or mucus. Okay, when there is excess earth element, the sticky element, then it becomes mucus or phlegm. And the direction of earth element is obesity excess earth? Yes, probably. And also it could be excess water. Obesity can be created with excess earth, excess water, etc. The direction of earth, say the direction of fire is up, the direction of water is down, the direction of wind is expanding outward, and the direction of movement is of the earth is, you put a heap of earth. After 1 year also, if you come and see, the heap will be just like that. It would have not moved around. Will it move? It doesn't move. It just sits there. A bag of soil, if you keep, it just sits there. So there is stability unless some other element is, wind is making it move or water is making it move. Otherwise, it is just stable. So the direction of earth element is neutral. So even though the direction of, okay, I will explain this later when I take up the organs. Just ignore the things which is there in the bracket. Okay, the direction of the earth is center and stable. Next, metal. What is the main function of metal? The main function of metal is that it can be molded. Okay, you can make intricate designs with metal. Say you have some very fancy earring with lot of detailed work. See, so that earring detailed work is done on a metal. Say if it is on a wood, can you create such detailed work like a earring on a wood? Is it possible? No. On a stone, is it possible? No. So if you want to have intricate designs, and if the designs has to hold its shape, then you require metal. Okay, the main function of the metal is it can be molded into any shape and form, and it can be hardened. Okay, it can be hardened. So if there is, let's say, your structure in the eyes, your nervous structure in the brain or the spine, the intricate designing of the muzzle, if you just see only the structure of the eyes, there is so many minute structures. So who is providing all those ability to mold and create that minute structures? And that structure is retained from birth till and death. Who is providing? It is the metal, right? The metal provides the, say, your electrical conductivity of the heart. Okay, so that is what I have shown here. Say, I'll read this out. That okay, and the directional energy of the metal is a compact, dense element. Metal is compact, dense element. So how is it moved? So how does the density come? How does the density increase? When you compress it. When you compress it, the density will increase. So it is compression. The direction of movement of the metal is inwards. So it creates density. So, or contraction. The wood is expansion and the metal is contraction. Okay. And the quality of energy, the direction is contraction, inward movement. But what is the energy of the metal? It is dryness. The energy, no, when heated, when you put heat, it will expand. But in its natural state, it is compact, contracted. So let's say in air there is moisture, right? In air there is moisture. In the wood, say if you cut the wood, there is moisture in the wood. And in water, it is moisture by itself. And if you take earth, there is some amount of moisture in the earth also. But when you take metal, it is fully dry. Is there any water in the metal? Any water in the metal? No, right? So it is all dry. That is why in TCM, the energy of the metal is what? The energy of the metal is dryness, right? The energy of the metal is dryness. You understood why? The energy of the metal is dryness. So the organs which are associated with the metal are lungs and large intestine. So it basically does this work of drying. Say if you do, say your lungs, when it is giving out air, or when you do this to your specs. So what has happened? You can see the moisture coming out of the lungs. So what is basically lungs doing? It is trying to, along with the inhalation and exhalation, it is trying to keep the things dry by exhaling moisture. Okay, so it does the dryness work. So it is dry. And the large intestine, what does it do? The large intestine dries the stool. The stool has a lot of moisture. Okay, so the large intestine, it reabsorbs the moisture and then eliminates. So both the lungs is also doing the dryness work, and the large intestine is also doing the dryness work. Hence, lungs and large intestine is associated with metal. Okay, you're able to understand why lungs and large intestine is associated with metal? Those who know, is it becoming clear why? Because metal is dry, and lungs and large intestine also does the work of drying or keeping the system drier. Yeah, whatever water is there, it dries it out. No, it is the work of drying. So the large intestine, and the metal conducts the electricity or heat. Say if you have wire, and the vessels which you have in the kitchen is made out of metal. Okay, and the wires, which is the electrical wire, so it moves, the electricity moves the best in metal. So we have our nervous system. So nervous system is like a wire, right? And the electrical impulses from the brain is moving in that wire. So this is as per my thinking. This is where the metal element comes into picture. The nervous system is more predominantly metal in nature, is what I think. Okay, because it helps in conductivity, and all the organs are maintaining its structure. Say heart is pumping, but it still maintains its structure. Okay, every organ in the body is maintaining its structure. No, and there is a lot of intricacies, and all of this maintaining the, creating a mold and maintaining the intricacies. All of this is done by metal. Okay. Some of it is my thinking. So these things are not there in book. Some things. Okay. So, and also metal is associated with air. Okay. I will discuss this in the next class when I take up the creative and control cycle. In the next class, I will take up creative and control cycle, and I will discuss this, how fire creates earth, how earth creates metal, okay, how metal creates water, and how water creates tree. All of that, it will be a very interesting topic in the next class. Okay, we will discuss that. So to summarize all the 5 elements, structural rigidity is given by metal. Fluidity of the fluids is provided by water. Transformation of one substance to another is provided by fire. Ability to reproduce, starting from cell to a human being, okay, nourishment and growth, all of that is provided by earth. and all the movements, ability to move, all internal and external movement is provided by wind. Okay, so if we have to summarize the 5 elements, this is how we can summarize. Okay. And if we have to summarize the directions of 5 elements, so fire moves upwards, the water moves downwards, wood expands. No, okay. Okay, I'll come back to that screen. And the metal contracts. And earth is neutral, it just stays stable. Okay, so this is what we can summarize the 5 elements. Okay, so next class we'll take creative and control cycle. Okay, so any questions so far? Anybody has any questions? Raise your hand. Oh, yeah. Okay, Mahalakshmi, Mahalinga. Sorry, Maganti. Sorry, Mahalakshmi.
Sir, it's very clear, sir. Very good explanation. Thank you very much.
Okay. Yes, Vinay.
सर फॉर एग्जांपल ओबेसिटी का आपने बताया था, तो ओबेसिटी जो है अर्थ एलिमेंट की वजह से होता है,
अर्थ एलिमेंट और वाटर एलिमेंट,
और वाटर एलिमेंट,
एक्सेस अर्थ एलिमेंट और एक्सेस वाटर एलिमेंट.
ओके ओके, थैंक यू सर.
Okay. Okay, Meenakshi Balasubramanian, I think you had that, no? You had your hand raised, Meenakshi. Meenakshi Balasubramanian, did you have a question? Anybody else has any other question? Okay, good. So far the okay. So there are no more questions. So any suggestions for improvement? Okay. Do you want, anybody has any suggestion on how the sessions can be improved?
Sir, I just
Ricky.
want that summary of that
Pardon?
5 elements. Yes, summary of the 5 elements you told very nicely. I want a screenshot of that one again.
Yeah. Here it is there. No? Okay.
It was fast, I could not grasp it.
That's okay. It's there. Yeah.
Very, very clear explanation, sir.
Thank you, sir. iPhone, what is your name?
My name is
No. Your name is
Venkatramanan.
Venkatramanan. No, you're just fine. Somebody else has raised hand. iPhone. What is it? I have asked you to unmute.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
The explanation is very good. Improvements from your side, not at all. We have to do it. My small request is, if possible, provide us the recording.
All that recording part is just left to Joshi sir. No, he will.
Okay, sir. And the small request is, if possible, timing little earlier will be very good.
This is a standard timing for all the classes, so I don't think I have a control over that.
Okay, sir. Fine. Other than that explanation, the wordings which you are given us is all very good.
Okay, fine. Okay, so if nobody has any questions, so thank you all for joining. So back to the host. Okay, anybody would like to quickly summarize? We still have what? Few minutes. Anybody would like to summarize?
3 minutes.
Probably in the next class. Next class, no, prepare. I will give 5 minutes in the beginning so that you can just quickly summarize somebody. Okay, fine. Okay, so with this, back to the host.
Thank you so much for this wonderful session, sir. It was like learning about all the 5 elements was really superb. Learning the basics. So we are very thankful to you from each one of us. Like water goes down, fire goes up, wood expands, metal contracts, earth is neutral and stable. So learning all this will help us in treating patients very well in the future after learning all the tidbits and diagnosis. It will help us learn everything better, sir, with this basics. So thank you so much, sir. And from all of us, a great evening with you, sir. With these sessions. So thank you and thank you. Gratitude.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Okay. So thank you all. Have a good night, good morning, good evening, depending on your time zones.
Good night, everyone. Thank you so much.